And good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to another stellar Xbox Factor podcast. Yes, this is your regular Tuesday edition. And my God, ladies and gentlemen, do we have a panel for you today? A panel that's going to deliver big opinions. We have topics that are going to have us delivering said opinions. And you're going to get a chance to see some gameplay from Elden Ring, my current game of the year. I mean, this is a masterpiece upon masterpieces. It's funny. If I were to pick it up right now, I wouldn't even know how to play it because I haven't played it in so long. I have forgotten. So check out the gameplay here. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of guests today. We have a lot of returning members that are part of the show each and every week. Both Pong Soul, Mav, and Josh, N64 Josh, all had personal things. Well, some work, some family stuff. They should be back next week or the following week after that. But we have some guests here that are no stranger to Double Barrel Gaming, and we're gonna start first with Steel Rain, one half of Living Split Screen, Saturday mornings, anywhere between 3 and 4 hours, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Steel Rain, how the heck are you? And another stellar show once again.
Hey, look, Boom, nothing but appreciation for that, man. And thank you for welcoming the rain back into the Xbox Factor Kingdom. And man, look, again, more and more information just continues to come out. Gaming is still better than ever to talk about. And look, man, I'm here to provide that RTS approach. If you don't know what that means, hey, check out our Saturday show. We break it down a little bit further for you with Living Split Screen. But greatly appreciate you inviting me in. We got quite the panel today. I'm interested to hear everybody's perspective. So let's get to it, man.
Yeah, we have a lot to get into. There is a lot to cover. We have breaking news regarding Logitech's handheld. That was that story had broken a couple of weeks ago that they were in fact working with NVIDIA, with Microsoft to bring us this new handheld that would take advantage of Xbox Game Pass on the go, and it is an Android-based device. It looks like the Nintendo Switch. Absolutely stunning to look at. It does have an OLED screen. We will get to that. That story was broken by Tom Warren, someone that represents the Xbox Nation rather well with his stories over there at TheVerge.com. But next up, Crazy Lou from Crazy Lou Gaming from Xbox International. How the heck are you, man? Welcome back.
Oh, man, happy as always to join you guys in the Xbox Factor, man. And thank you for having me here today. We got lots to talk about. I mean, look at that Logitech just leak. And, oh, man, talk about games today. Whoo! We got a whole bunch of things to run through, man. I'm really excited. And, again, thank you for having me back here, brother.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to have you back here. And, yeah, we do got a lot to get into. The main topic of today is going to be something that I'm going to have to personally live on the air, give my bow and bend the knee to Microsoft's team that continues to deliver unbelievable experiences into Xbox Game Pass. One of the biggest criticisms that I personally had this year from Microsoft, like many, I'm not the only one that complained about this, was how devastating it was to see Microsoft basically have no first-party games, and many of us in the community have called for Microsoft to deliver games like Gotham Knights and Sonic and Saints Row and a few of the bigger titles that we were expecting from third-party, and so far none of that has come to fruition. But if you look at the thumbnail that I built from scratch for today's show, every one of those games are AAA bombs, most of which are new IPs that we've never seen before. And what is interesting, and I think really where you put you put your finger on the pulse, is how every one of these games are very Sony-esque. They're third-person, action-adventure, over-the-shoulder type of games. And listen, somehow the marketing team, and I think a lot of that has to do with Sarah Bond, have come and are delivering these big new experiences, even though some of them are multi-plats, that's fine. But it's funny how no one, and I mean no one, was talking about these games coming to PlayStation or PC because they were coming into Game Pass. And I think that, like I have said many times before, is in fact the exclusive. And I can't wait to get into that. But let's welcome in Boxenberger all the way back from Germany. He had his nice vacation in Italy. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Feeling great, feeling great. I'm glad to be back, although I have to admit the vacation was also pretty awesome. But no, I'm I'm excited to be back. We have a stellar panel. We have some cool topics to talk about, so I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, me too. It's again Jigga J in the chat, good friend of the program. He says Gungrave Gore also coming to Game Pass. That's right, dude, and that is another third-person, over-the-shoulder action adventure game that, for the most part, would be dominant on PlayStation. Man, that's coming to Xbox Game Pass day and date, and we have that information from a leak. An email was sent out with saying that Game Pass, with Gungrave, Game Pass day and date. It hasn't been announced. It's not available for preload yet. I think that this is going to be an announcement at the Tokyo Game Show, which is I think it's next week, which would be pretty dope. But we will see. Daniel McGee, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Pretty good. Just got some car repairs that I got to deal with in a little bit here. Not looking forward to that, but otherwise doing great. You know what I mean? We got great topics, new great panel. Can't lose today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're here. Sorry about your car repair, brother. That nothing's punched to the bowl, so to speak. Is that you go to bring something in for like you think it's going to be $100 or $200, and they're like, nope, it's 10 times the amount, and you want to just cry. Yeah, so I get it, brother. I get it. But last in no way least, Mr. Infinite Umbra, one of the panel members for Xbox Infinite podcast on Friday evenings, which I popped by when you guys were live. How are you, man? What's going on?
I'm good, Boom, man. I'm excited to sit here, and chop it up with you guys always. So my energy always seems really low after this because I work overnight. So when I come in,
that will do it. Yeah, that will do it. That will do it.
So I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea, but I don't have quite the energy as our good brother Rain coming in. So I'm not going to be shouting at y'all, but you'll hear me. All right. But yeah, I'm excited to chop it up with you all. Let's talk about this.
Well, you know what? Let's get right into the breaking news. And like I said, this may not be a big deal for people that are PC folks, people that love the Steam Deck that has taken over social media when it was launched. People continue to show off their handhelds as being the greatest things in sliced bread because there's so much. I mean, it's basically you're holding a PC in your hand. But the story was broken a couple of weeks ago where Logitech was working with NVIDIA, and somehow or another Microsoft was in on that in on that original story as potentially working with both Logitech and NVIDIA regarding Logitech's cloud-based gaming handheld. And folks, Tom Warren of The Verge broke the story this morning at 4:55 a.m. Eastern Our Time, and he has an actual picture of it. And my God, you know what? Let me just share the screen with you, fine folks, so you can see. If you're not in front of your computer or in front of your phone, you can turn around and you can take a look and to see exactly what I am seeing. And I'm going to bring it up for you right now on the screen. Let me see. There it is, blown up for you to take a look at. Logitech's cloud-based gaming handheld leaks with Android apps and Switch-like UI. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it looks like. It does look very, very similar to the OLED Switch, which I currently own. And let me just, as you see, I'm going to read from it. And again, I'm going to read verbatim from the story because this just came out. It says this: Logitech's new cloud gaming handheld has leaked weeks after the company teased it was working on the new device. And the Logitech G and Tencent Games confirmed their plans for a dedicated handheld earlier this month. And now Evan Blass has tweeted pictures of the handheld which reveal access to Google Play Store alongside support for Xbox xCloud gaming and NVIDIA's GeForce Now service. The Logitech G gaming handheld looks roughly the same size as the Nintendo Switch, and it even includes a Switch-like UI where you scroll through the apps and games. One leaked image shows Chrome and YouTube apps alongside Xbox, NVIDIA, and Steam icons, while Blast tweeted images of the handheld. Logitech was quick to file a DMCA complaint to remove them from Twitter and thus confirm the authenticity of the device. Steele, let's get to you, dude.
Okay.
This is a big deal. Obviously there are a lot of people that enjoy what the Steam Deck does. Besides it being a very powerful handheld, it's one that it's if you are someone that is a techie, you're a tech head, you really can put that thing through its paces and get your money's worth, so to speak. I'm not that guy. That's not for me. I'm more of a plug and play, pop on the console and go kind of a dude, which is why this appeals to me more so. Where does this fit in the gaming space?
For me, I mean, again, you're trying to get that attention of that mobile gamer, those kids, those people that are always on the go. You're traveling. This would, as I start to think more about it, would definitely be something that I could possibly jump into, or at least have on the side for, hey, Dad, can I play a game real quick? Hey, yeah, play on this real quick. We were talking a little bit about it in the background. Because it is a little bit different from having like a Steam Deck, like you mentioned, Boom, where you got to fiddle with it a little bit to get things like the cloud gaming, where Xbox Cloud Gaming on there, until it's like becomes officially a part of it. And I don't have a Steam Deck myself, so it's probably not going to be that complicated. But I would consider myself a little bit more savvy than the normal individual. So also, like you stated, you would want a device that could do something and give you easier access. So it using, like, for an example, the Google Play Store, if it's going to be based off of Android, that right there tells me it's trying to appeal to the mobile market. Mobile gaming is continuously becoming bigger and bigger as we continue to move through into the future. Microsoft also sees that play, and as these mobile games continue to develop and continue to also become more expansive. Again, you look at games like Genshin Impact, Tower of Fantasy. These games are really becoming, although they may be gotcha games, quote unquote, where they want you to eventually get to a point where you feel like you got to spend some money to get these characters and whatever the case. But there are other games that aren't like that. Maybe your Call of Duty mobiles, your Apex, and we obviously know that that's where a lot of the attention is. Again, even if you just end up playing Candy Crush on the thing, there's so much money that's in that market. A device like this would only make sense. Again, everybody could try their hand at it, but it is going to depend on which one is going to seem more friendly for everybody. I think we can admit that the Steam Deck was obviously tailored for people in the know, right? The hardcore, the enthusiast, as I like to say. Maybe not so much your normies, or maybe your tinkerers for sure. Whereas a device like this, it's more Android based, could make sense, though you are tethering that line, especially with mobile phones continuously improving, to where do you need a dedicated only gaming device when your phone does the same thing? And we're getting to a point where who doesn't have a phone? It used to be more of a question like, hey, well, little Timmy, I'll get you a phone when you're 18, 16, you got football practice, Now it's like, I'm considering myself, I have an 11-year-old who's in middle school, and I'm like, man, I kind of feel like I need to have constant access with her because the world is crazy. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of options there. They have Switches, so I can see how that can appeal to the children, or to a younger audience, I should say. And I think that's really what it's in there for. But we'll see. Again, people like me or you, Boom, we could probably use it. We'll find something to use it for. So.
Yeah, you know what? For me personally, unless they price us out of it, like if this is a $400 device, I don't necessarily know if I do it day and date, because I do play my Switch. The Switch was 300. Well, this one's a little bit more because it was the OLED, but I'm okay with that. See, like this over here, if it's anything 300 under, it's a day one purchase for me. It's something I would definitely get into. I mean, listen, it looks really nice. I would love to see. My biggest issue to what you said about the phones is I have my phone in a case, so if I drop my phone, it doesn't get broken.
Right.
So if you're going to use any of these, keys and everything else, you have to take it out. It's a pain in the ass to have to take it out of the case, to put it into here, then to put it on. I always felt that all of those devices always felt flimsy. You know what I'm saying? Because, they're on like this little plastic bar that's your phone is sitting on. And I have big mitts. Like I'm 6 feet 210. I have big hands. You know what I'm saying? And it always felt like I was using a kid's toy when I used my phone. Whereas when I use the Switch, and this is very, very reminiscent of that, then I'll be good. Crazy Lou, is this something that you buy day one? Is this something that falls into, whether are you a Steam Deck guy or are you more of like a plug and play kind of a dude?
Well, let me tell you something. I had my hands on a Steam Deck thanks to Vic the Click when he came here to Dominican Republic. He said, Louis, here, take it with you, enjoy it, do a video review, which I still got to put together to put it on the channel. But yeah, I actually got my hands on it. And I'll be honest with you, I felt good playing with the Steam Deck.
Okay.
Now, the bad thing is the cloud gaming is still not here in Dominican Republic. So I hope that if Microsoft listens to this conversation, please throw the cloud gaming here. We want it. We need it urgently because I just love, showing people off on my cell phone. Like, hey, I can. What's it called? The Xbox has you can connect directly to the console. I forgot the name of it.
The remote play.
The remote play. I just love showing them how I can connect the remote play on my cell phone. And I would love to show them how xCloud works. So yeah, if that comes in, seriously, and it's a to-go console. I mean, if it's on a good price, heck yeah, I'll get my hands on a Logitech. I mean, it looks pretty cool. It's awesome. It's got an OLED screen. And what I saw on the picture, because I was scanning through the picture, I think I saw that it has a micro SD storage. So I think it could have a micro SD storage. So that's another. So if it does, that's a good thing. That means we can download probably games on it, or not. I mean, we got to see. More about.
It's interesting because I think you had read it and said something to the effect where there is onboard storage or expandable storage. So I would imagine that if there is expandable storage, you might be able to download a game via, Xbox Game Pass. If the card is big enough, I would imagine because they make terabyte cards that are small as a nickel. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. But all I can tell you is that this comes at a perfect time. Tencent has their hands in everyone's cookie jar. So we know that they're heavily investing in this with Logitech. Logitech is a phenomenal company when it comes to their peripherals. I love what they bring to the table. I'm a big fan of theirs. And I think that there's something to be said about a device that will take advantage of course, being able to play on the go. For me, this is a win-win. Like I said, the only way that I don't get this if they box me out with the price.
So I got a question for you all though. Do you think this? I mean, since games on the go is getting to be like a new thing, and it's actually true, it's becoming like actually a new thing. I mean, Steam Deck is doing really well. Yeah, Steam Deck is doing really well. Everything's doing really well. Do you think that PlayStation is going to probably do a new Vita, or Xbox is going to get into handhelds? That's a question, and I ask myself every time.
Yeah, it's a great question. The Sony answer is no. I don't see them doing it because right now they are having trouble getting PlayStation 5s out the door. I don't know how they're going to equate what they're doing with the console market and next year launch a PlayStation VR 2.0, which is expected to be upwards of $500 and $600. I don't know if they team up with someone. Maybe that's the answer. Because I know that Microsoft was in on the conversation when Logitech and Tencent announced this. I don't know where, because I don't have the contract in front of me, right? So I don't know what they're going to do, but I know that they were involved in getting their streaming service working on there. We know that Microsoft is working with the Steam Deck to get their service working on there, and it's working quite well.
Yep.
So I don't know what Sony does. Sony is notoriously, as we've seen when it comes to their handhelds, support it for a hot minute and then let it die on its own. So it's going to be an interesting take. Boxenberg, let's get your opinion on this. This is something. I mean, you have a Steam Deck, correct?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow! For some reason I thought you did.
I wanted to get one. That's why.
Where is the Logitech G
Yeah.
handheld for you? Is it something that you're interested in? Is it something that the gaming world needs?
See, these are two interesting questions. The first is absolutely not for me, but the second one is it's always good to have options, and this is what this is. Like, I have a pretty good phone. I have not the Kishi, but a ripoff. I'm good. I have that thing that Logitech announced. But people that don't have a proper phone, that want to have that holistic experience when they try to play in the cloud and not use their smartphone for that because it's crap and maybe I don't know, the display is cracked or whatever. For those people, it can be a valid option, and I'm always pro options. This isn't an option for me. I am happy with the phone and the Kishi ripoff. I have a fantastic xCloud experience on that, but others might not, and for them, it's a very interesting device. I wonder how it will perform on the market, because it is a tough market. Like, since the way I understood it from the leaks is it does not run natively games. It's all about cloud streaming options. You can have xCloud on there. You have NVIDIA streaming service and so on. You can have those streaming services. So the question is, who is willing to spend $200 plus on a device that can only stream games? For this almost the same amount of money, you get a phone that can do the same. So it's great that this exists, because it opens up a new market. It opens up new options, and maybe it's a failure, but kudos to Logitech for trying. It's a valid option. It's a great idea. And yeah, let's see how it will perform.
Well, it's funny. We're coming into an era where Microsoft are going to be sole owners of Activision, Blizzard, and King. And as we saw from that interview with Bloomberg last week, one of the most interesting aspects of the interview, it was picked apart, and there was a lot to digest in that interview. I mean, the interview is about 40 minutes, but it's packed. Like, if you sat there and you could make 10 shows out of what Phil Spencer had to say. But I think what was most interesting is his take on the presence that Microsoft currently doesn't have in mobile, but will when they own King. And I think that when you look at them partnering or being involved somewhat in this Logitech G with both Logitech and Tencent. Now, again, I don't know if they invested. I don't know exactly what their role is. But the fact that this is a cloud-based device, who's better to team up with them than the people that own Azure, right? One of the best cloud services in the business. And on top of that, they just so happen to be getting in bed with mobile gaming. And I think that we're going to start. I mean, I know that Mav's wife, Fancy, she had posted something the other day that was, I think she had the app on her Xbox for Candy Crush. Like, I don't even know how that's possible, but hey, that's an actual thing. And as we know, Candy Crush last quarter made more money than Call of Duty PC and console combined. Just imagine that for a second. So I think there is something here to be said about Microsoft potentially, getting involved with this from the ground floor up. Let's bring in Daniel on this. Daniel, where does this a hold in the market. Is this something that's going to go out with a whimper, or is there something to be said about this?
I think it entirely comes down to whether. So if it turns out to be a strictly like streaming device, then it's going to come down to how well that works.
Right.
If it is like Louis was saying, and there's a storage slot where you can download at least a handful of games, then I think it'll do perfectly fine, right?
Yep.
Like, will it take the world on fire? Probably not. I mean, the Steam Deck is getting a lot of buzz, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be like selling as much as a Switch or anything, right? Like
Right.
I don't think it's going to do anything crazy like that.
Yeah, true that, but the Steam Deck is super successful.
True.
The numbers are actually really, really high.
There's going to be a second one.
Yeah, absolutely.
At this rate. It's gonna be a second one.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
I think that there's every likelihood that this is successful. My hope is that Xbox sort of gets behind it as like an advertising partner, so that they can sort of brand it loosely as the Xbox handheld. Because I don't necessarily think that they're going to build one of their own. I think it's more likely that they just associate with something like this. Because I mean, if this already exists, building another one seems almost redundant, because this is basically exactly what we were asking for them to create.
Basically,
yeah. I mean, in terms of whether or not this is for me, I'm with Box. The answer is no. I'm just not a mobile kind of person. I didn't buy an OLED TV so I could carry a phone around with me and play on that. You know what I mean? It's just never been for me. My Switch has not left its dock in like 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, like the only reason mine actually stays out of the dock or leaves the dock from charging is because when I play with the missus, she plays on the TV and I have the OLED sitting right next to me, so we're chilling, and we're both playing, and that's why I appreciate the OLED switch. But yeah, I mean, listen, again, not every product or every game is for every gamer. That's a reality. But good stuff. Listen, let's bring Infinite Umbra into the conversation. Umbra, this is again, breaking news of the way of The Verge from Tom Warren, who always has his ear to the floor when it comes to big stories like this. So shout out to Tom Warren of The Verge. Is Logitech's cloud gaming handheld something that you might be interesting? I mean, it's very Switch approachable. Looking at it myself on the screen now, it's something that I could definitely see I would use if there was some sort of a dock for it, where I would be able to just hook up a wireless controller. I would probably play it just like that.
Yeah, the thing about it, Boom, is like, I wouldn't say it's an oversaturation, but I think it's a niche thing. And because we know that the Switch kind of has a chokehold on things, and now that the Steam Deck is taking care of the other part for the more hardcore sector, it's kind of like, why do you need this? I don't see the need for this just yet, because the Steam can fill any void this would have, and the Switch would have, obviously Nintendo games and such like that, where you can play and then also put it on your screen and go native. So I don't know. It's just tough to really say. I think it comes down to the price. If it's affordable enough, cheap enough rather, that they can justify that, then it's possible they can get some good sales with it. The problem, I think, is that it's just cloud based, and although I'm sure it'll have a memory slot, so you can probably emulate things of that nature, that'll probably come in handy for people. But then there are a lot of handhelds out there right now that you can get that are probably as powerful or probably more powerful than this right here, actually. Although I know it has the new the G3X, or was it the 63X, the G3X, I believe, chipset, which allows it to play more of the more modern games. I don't know. I just don't know how this would work out, honestly. I think, as most things, it's going to come down to the price. So the pricing of it, and if it has any nice things like a nice screen, an OLED or something.
Well, it's
like
an
that.
OLED for sure. That has been confirmed. So that is. I mean, look, this is going to appeal. Maybe not so much for us, right? Like, for me definitely, but for others, I can hear somebody clicking and typing. If you're going to type, please just put it on mute. I think that, listen, the bottom line is that there are a huge amount of mobile gamers, and I think that if you play on your phone, your screen, this phone is probably, I can guarantee you the screen on your phone is better than most stuff out there right now. The problem is playing on the phone, though. See, that I don't like it, dude. The screen is too small. It's that the touch control's not my thing, and most of the the stuff you put your phone into is a pain in the ass to put your phone into.
Well, that's the other thing that's a kind of a turn off then about that device, Boom, because that screen is only about 6.5 inches, and a lot of phones are either that size or bigger. So it's kind of almost at that point to where the question that I would want to bring up is, wouldn't it just make more sense? I know you were saying that, hey, with the Razer Keys, I got to take my case off, I got to do this. I think it would just be better if it's Xbox, if it's Logitech, if it's someone that stepped in and just continue to iterate on that accessory, so that if you don't have to take off a case, so maybe it needs to be a little bit longer, or it needs to connect a different way, or whatever else the case may be, so you don't have to take apart things, because that is an automatic turn off for a lot of people. And I overall think that the better thing to do for what the company should do, kind of coming from a consumer standpoint too, is just give me more ways to use things I already have. So
yeah, for me, I think it just comes right back to that thought, like, are most people going to be going toward cloud-based gaming? And I don't think we are just yet. You know what I mean? I don't think we're there yet. So I think that might be an issue for it. And then it has competition even in the cloud-based area.
Price,
yeah. So it's other competition if you all look into handhelds now that can do exactly what this is offering to do, probably better, being honest. And so that's another issue. So I don't know. I feel like with the Switch being out there and the Steam Deck, it seems like this came out at the wrong time. That's what it feels like. But we don't know. We can see how it works out. Maybe, like someone pointed out, Microsoft, maybe they did some type of partnership with it for xCloud and things like that. And, maybe that could work out in its favor. It can come out looking more positive. If it has decent enough specs, some people will get it for that. I don't know. It just seems like it's all gonna come down to pricing, in my opinion. If it's cheap enough, it'll do well.
Yeah. You know what? And I want to segue, folks, into that specific interview that I talked about. That, again, if you are a podcaster and you were kind of, first of all, I don't know how you be. This last 2 weeks, I don't know about anyone else. We went from having nothing to having to make up our own topics to literally, holy shit, how do we speak about everything? It's just crazy. But before I do, I gotta catch up with some of the super chats. Been quite a few of them, and they've been rather lofty. The first one of the day comes to us from Jacob Novick, good friend, generous friend of the program. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Can highly recommend all people interested back Armed Fantasia and Penny to back Armed Fantasia and Penny Blood on Kickstarter." I actually just saw someone talking about that just back today for I'm not sure if you backed for $890 or $8.90, but if it's $890, my God, dude, that's bonkers. He says expected to come 2025. They have a 750,000 goal to reach. It's from the same devs as Wild Arms. Wild Arms is pretty dope. I got to check that out because I saw a lot of people starting to talk about that. So thank you so much for being here, Jacob, but thank you for the generosity. Shooter 2853, generous friend of the program, drops an outstanding and very generous $15 super chat and says, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Boom, or Mrs. and Mrs. Boom, Daniel McGee, Crazy Lou, Boxing Burger, Steel Rain, and Sir Infinite Umbra. Here is my contribution to the Family Friends Game Pass. Hope someone will join this old man." Absolutely, brother. My gamer tag is Mr. BoomStick XL, Mr. Space BoomStick XL on Xbox. Hit me up, brother, for sure. Sir X-Men, hopefully you're doing better, my brother. He drops a $2 super chat and says, "Waiting on portable to use SIM for 5G phone data." Yeah, that's another big thing. I don't know whether this is going to be 5G enabled or not. I don't know how that would work. But Eternal Shaddai drops a very generous $20 bomb and says, "Good afternoon, Boom and panel. It is It is not a bad idea from Logitech to create a handheld to create with others. Let's remember when the Switch released, the battery life wasn't great. Internal stability is something to think about. Yeah, I mean, look, this is something, again, it's Logitech. For me personally, I absolutely love their stuff. I've been buying their stuff since way, way back in the days when no one even knew who the hell Logitech was. I really appreciate what they bring to the table, and I think this, again, if it's not a $400 or $500 device, and it's like between 200 and 300, I'm going to get a day one. I don't know if I'm going to use it every day per se, but I'm definitely getting in on that conversation. And I kind of want to segue, ladies and gentlemen, to what Phil Spencer had to say, because obviously he did this interview with Bloomberg last week, and it turned a lot of heads. Phil had a lot of things to say, but specifically on what they plan to do with mobile. And I think that is a conversation that goes really well with what we just talked about, because obviously in the original story, Microsoft did have input into what they were doing with this thing. Now, I don't know if that was in regards to what they currently do with with the cloud-based gaming that they have, or it's going to officially going to be called xCloud, which should have been from the beginning, or what they're going to do in the mobile the area once the ABK deal is done, which is expected to close by end of year. Here's what Phil had to say, ladies and gentlemen, and this comes to us way of videogamechronicles.com, or VGC for short. The article was written by Tom Ivan, who is a journalist there, and this is what Phil Spencer had to say, and I quote: "When we were thinking about what we were capable of doing today and where do we need to go, the biggest gaming platform on the planet is mobile phones. 1.5 billion people play on mobile content. I guess, regrettably, as Microsoft is not in a place where we have a native platform, as gaming coming from console and PC, we don't have a lot of creative capability that has been built to hit mobile games. One thing about the video game space is if you have been around maybe too long, you know most of the creators out there. So you kind of know teams that could be a good fit in terms of what we are trying to do. But we really started the discussion internally, at least on the Activision Blizzard King, around the capability that they had on mobile and then on PC with Blizzard. Those were two things that were really driving our interest. Now, Steele, this is a lot to digest. This is a lot to get into. Look, Call of Duty Mobile makes boatloads of money. Say what you want about the new Diablo, whether it's a cash grab, whether it's pay to win,
Ton of money.
it's making boatloads of money. These are two franchises that are going to become first party in a couple of months, and now, like I said, I don't know if we're going to get a branded Xbox, Logitech G, or they're just going to, partner with them and help them promote it. I don't know what's going to happen on the back end of it, but this, it just seems like everything is coming together. What do you think about what Phil had to say regarding mobile? Is it something that you think they're going to drive home once this deal is done?
I think it only makes sense for them to, because that's what they've been speaking to. Again, the mobile market is the biggest market when it comes to gaming, whether you consider them actual gamers or not. And we also see, as I mentioned earlier in the show, that mobile gaming is becoming not only more accessible, but it is also stepping up as far as graphical fidelity and quality goes. Now, that may not be for everybody, and playing on a small screen isn't for everybody, but it obviously is to a mass audience of people, right? Anybody that has a phone. So with that in mind, and with not only the console space, but also the PC space being kind of capped out at 500 million, maybe 1 billion people at some point, if we can ever get it there. The only way to expand that, to get people to look at what is gaming about is to actually put it in their hands, which is, I know it's hard for people to see the cloud strategy and it not making sense for a lot of people, but it honestly is the most blatantly obvious path, because you can't get out of it, right? You take your phone with you everywhere. There's other mobile devices that you take everywhere, whether it's an iPad. When people are getting Steam Decks now, which we also spoke on earlier. And the more prevalent these things become, because they will become more prevalent, because that's just how technology works, the easier it is going to be for everybody else. So they got to double down on the mobile market. You don't reach 3 billion people by focusing on PC and console gamers. It hasn't worked thus far. The last decade, when they're trying to kind of tease this out and move one way or the other way, Game Pass hasn't all of a sudden done a Disney where you get a certain game in there, or even after they get Activision Blizzard in there, they're not going to automatically hit 200 million subscribers out of nowhere. It's not going to happen. Is there going to be a jump? Yes, but you have to do more than that, and that's forcing people to see it. Mind share. That's the only thing that PlayStation has over any other company, especially in the gaming space, is mind share. People know what PlayStation is. So now it's Xbox's turn Microsoft's turn, let's just say, more so, to not only be known for Windows, but say, hey, we have Windows, which is also our other service-based thing. I'm sure you guys have heard about that, but here's Xbox too. No matter how you look at it, whether it's on your phone, on your computer, on a tablet, wherever it may be, on the console, you have access, and this is what it is. So yeah, if you ask me, I think it makes sense for them to double down, triple down on the mobile side of things and see where they can get with it.
Yeah, I think, it all goes back to what Phil Spencer was clowned about many years ago, where he said want to reach 3 billion gamers. Remember that?
Yeah.
And everyone in the media and everyone on Sony's side was like, 3 billion gamers, they can't get the Xbox gamers. Remember that? I remember that quite vividly.
Exactly.
And now who's having the last laugh? That's what it comes down to. Crazy Lou, let's get your opinion on this. Look, Phil Spencer, again, had a lot to say in this interview, specifically on the mobile side. It appears that it's one of those platforms that they don't have a foothold. They don't even have a fingerprint right now, but they will. And that's due to the big money that they currently are spending, nearly $70 billion on Activision Blizzard King. And it's going to be basically a waterfall of revenue for Microsoft moving forward. Where do you see them going with this?
I mean, where do I see them going? I just hope that they actually open up and to the rest of the world. Like I said, for me, here in Dominican Republic, I mentioned it earlier, we don't have xCloud, and I wish that it could just come by, drop here, so we can use and get adjusted to it. Because that idea of bringing those games mobile and everywhere. I mean, we have seen it in toaster ovens. We have seen it in refrigerators. We have seen it even in Teslas. I mean, people were playing with the Tesla screen. And didn't we see like a whole new Mini Cooper Pokemon car or something like that? It's going to be like a screen where you can play games or something like that. It was like a weird concept. But yeah, it's going to be everywhere. And if they do open up to the rest of the world, I mean, they're going to reach way far. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's something that they got to do. They got to keep on knocking on doors and opening to the world, and just hope to God that it actually comes here in Dominican, because really, I have tried the xCloud on my computer, but I have to use a VPN to do it. And it's not the same though. It's not the same. So when it comes here, I just can't wait to try it, and it's going to be huge, and it will be really impactful, and they will make a crap load of money, especially now since they're putting on TVs in an easy access.
Yeah, you know what? It's they have to be better with their localization for sure. They have to be better of getting other countries involved in the conversation. If there's one complaint that I do have about Microsoft, or specifically Xbox, it's that. I mean, we've heard from many Xbox gamers from across the world that said, "Yeah, listen, you know what? Why don't they do more here? Why don't they do better here?" And again, it's if there is a complaint about Microsoft and specifically Xbox, it's that localization is a huge issue, and you do have gamers that can bring us not only spend a lot of money on your platform, but also you want those gamers. You know what I'm saying? They should not be ignored. And sometimes it does kind of feel like that, Lou.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's just that also that when you sit down and you explain to somebody the stuff you can do with the Xbox and the service and everything, it's hard to explain because, like I said, I showed them the remote play. It's easier because remote play actually does work here, but I want to show them how the xCloud works. But how can I show it to them?
Right. Good stuff.
I can't show it to them, and that's something that if I show it to them, they'll be like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" I mean, literally, you can play Game Pass on here, like all that stuff. That's going to get them really amused and say, hey, now I want to get into an Xbox and see how it goes. So, I just hope that they open to the world everything else. And I know it takes time because, again, it's still called beta. Isn't it called xCloud beta yet still?
I'm not sure. I don't think it officially has launched yet. It's probably still in beta. Yeah.
It's probably still in beta. But once that officially launches, I hope it just opens up around the world so we can all have a taste of it. And like I said, it's going to be huge. I mean, they're going to make a lot of money because of that.
No, I absolutely agree. Listen, before I bring in Boxenberger to get his opinion on this, I want to catch up with some of the super chats, and thank you so much for throwing them into the private message because obviously, when you're trying to run the show, it does get messy. Outbreak Podcast has been a member of WoW for over 13 months. Thank you so much for that. He says, amazing panel. I want this handheld device. Yes, I can play on my phone. Still not as fun as playing on a handheld that's dedicated to work with Game Pass. Yeah, see that is the kicker for me. It's not a dedicated device. That's what I want. That's why I'm day one. We also have Percolator 9000 has been a channel member for 5 months, and he says, have a great show. This is my last month. Money is short. Listen, dude, I appreciate you supporting the channel, but you just supporting with your views is perfectly fine. Money is tight for everyone, brother, and we definitely appreciate what you have done. Just coming here to hang out. That's all we want. We just want to strike up a conversation and just chill. So thank you so much for everything that you've done, and don't sweat it. He says, but I'm still here. Keep up the good work. Hello, rest of the panel. Well, thank you so much for that. We also have Highlander. 001 drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, afternoon, Mr. Boomstick and panel. I use my Samsung Tab 7, the S7 Plus, to stream my Xbox games, both on my home console and Game Pass. Just use my Xbox controller, works great, and can still game with my crew. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I absolutely love that. That is, I have a new tablet that I got. I haven't really taken advantage of it like I should. Mrs. Boomster got me a good one for Christmas. And again, I could use it, but I really want that dedicated handheld. Lady Foxfire drops an outstanding $2 super chat. Thank you, darling, for being here. Super appreciate the super sticker. And, of course, you hanging out with us today. We also have Looney Boy 221133 drops an outstanding and very generous $10 super chat and says, the tech and engines ABK owns is more valuable to Microsoft than the individual IPs. Battle.net on PC and King's mobile infrastructure will change the game for all of Xbox first-party operations. Yeah, that's a great freaking point that no one seems to think about. Like I said, there is so much to this deal. This is why Microsoft has been. You haven't seen them doing much of anything. They do not want to risk this deal going anywhere but in their favor. And I for Microsoft's sake, I cannot wait for this deal to be done so we could get back to talking about who they're going to buy next. That's the reality. Jacob Novick drops an additional $2 super chat and says, $8.90 not. $8.90, not $8.99, but they take my money in 31 days. Good for you, brother. Definitely appreciate that. And that. Listen, you love to see people support devs, especially when it's a smaller team. Scott Gamer, dude, what's up, brother? How you feeling? He drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, hello, Boom. I'm paid up until 2023 for Game Pass. Yeah, I'm paid up until when is it? November 18th. of 2024 is when I'm paid up for. I am good, dude. Like when it's on sale, I go ham, bro. I'm not messing around. But that's good. Thank you for the generosity. He says, have you guys heard any updates for the family plan godfathered in? See, I've been looking for it. I'm not sure. As soon as they drop that information, if it's a breaking news story, obviously I'm going to cover it. But as soon as I get that information, we're definitely going to talk about it, because I have a strong suspicion that they may grandfather people into it. Like, I can just add people to my service, and it just will eventually, when it re-ups, be $25 a month. Again, that's just me assuming, but I don't want to make an ass out of you and me. So as soon as I got the info, I will definitely drop that, Scott. BitCloud Gaming, what's going on, brother? He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, what's up, Boom? Have a great show. Salute to my brother, Boxenberger and Crazy Lou. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the generosity. Listen, let's bring in Daniel on this. Daniel, Scott brings up a great point. Was it Scott that brought up the point? Let me make sure I got it right. No, it was Lonely Boy 221133 and BattleNet and everything that King brings to the table. This is going to be a big deal for Microsoft. The question that I have for you is, how big of a deal?
Yeah, I mean, so we're talking about like the mobile space, right? I think at this point we should just be getting Phil Spencer a shirt with that Hannibal Buress quote. It's like, why are you booing? I'm right. Because every time he says something, people are like, oh, I don't know if we should put games on PC. I don't know if we should put games on mobile. I don't know if we should support cross.
I was right. I love it.
Games
That's good
for
stuff.
a couple of years. It's like, what's happening every single time? It turns out that that's the right choice, and then not only that, but everyone else starts doing it too, because it makes sense. Like, that's where the money is. That's where the people are, right? So it's like, yeah, of course. Like, as soon as King gets brought into the fold, that's going to be one of the biggest money-making things in the Microsoft ecosystem. Not just Xbox, Microsoft, right? Like, that's huge. There's hundreds of thousands of people who play that game every single day and put money into it. Like, I'm surprised that it's honestly like a conversation where people are like, okay, so PlayStation just bought what was it, Savage?
Savage Games, they just announced yesterday, which is by the way, if you read the press release, very auspicious. They claim they've been a studio for years. And I heard Hogue Law break it down. They were formed November 3rd of 2020. So it hasn't even been 2 years. So he looked up what they have made. Guess what, folks? They've made nothing. They've literally made nothing. Shocking.
It's a very strange situation, but that studio in particular, it's weird that they bought that one. But PlayStation moving into mobile, that's not strange to me at all, right? Like,
no, absolutely not.
Like, mobile is very clearly the play going forward. I mean, we're talking about the next generation of gamers, right? We're talking about people who play Fortnite on their phone, right? Like, being able to get to players where they are, that's how you make the money. That's how you get in, right? That's why things like that handheld, the Logitech handheld, are do gangbusters. I was making a joke about it in the green room before we started, right? Is like, there's going to be so many of those confiscated in high schools, right? Because that's what's going to happen. Is it's sort of like the Nintendo effect, right? Is you appeal to children, and then those children grow up and expand into your bigger catalog of games, and then they show their kids those games, and it just snowballs into nostalgia and a loyal fan base for generations and generations, right?
Yep.
So appealing to like, people were upset that like Peppa Pig was put into Game Pass, right? And it's like,
that worked.
That's for the kids. Like, they're in there. Like,
then they're playing it.
There's more of them than there are of us. So
I love that game.
I got 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements. I don't care. I'm not. Listen, I'm not ashamed.
Yeah, it's So
Everybody
yeah,
got silent. I don't know. I wasn't sure if everybody was in agreement.
Listen,
They
It's
don't know
like-
how to
I'm a
feel about
man
Peppa
of-
Pig.
Yeah, it's like you
Just
said it
saying.
out loud, and then like the regret inside your soul kicked in.
I love
Like,
it. That's good stuff.
Hello. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just it didn't seem
That's
right.
good stuff. Yeah, I
he was
mean,
catching
listen,
side eyes
look,
from Bluey.
there's nothing wrong with getting if there's a gamer score to be had. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not ashamed of nothing. But no, honestly, Daniel, I think you're right. I think everyone has really knocked us out of the park. But Umbra, let's get your final opinion on this, and I want to move to the big topic of the day, and that is how Microsoft is moving Game Pass into a lane that Sony can't follow. There is no doubt about it that Sony service that is $3 more. Listen, I've said this before. If you're finding Sony for the first time, let's say you're an Xbox gamer, you're a PC gamer, and you buy your PlayStation 5, you finally get one. Now, unfortunately, you had to pay $50 more, but that's here nor there. If you're getting into their service, there's no denying that their games in that service, if you've never played, are mind-blowing, fantastic. God of War, Last of Us, you just go down the list. They're all bangers, as the kids like to call them, right? So if you're just finding it for the first time, then it's a winner chicken dinner for you because you're going to be eating good forever, at least till you get through the game. See, for me, it doesn't really hit. Am I a premium member? Yes, I am a premium member, but it doesn't hit for me personally because I own all those games already. I'm a day one buyer for almost 90% of Sony's first party games. So for me, it doesn't hit as hard, but when you look at what's coming to Game Pass, and we're going to break that down as soon as Umber finishes talking about this, it's crazy because every one of these games scream PlayStation 5 console exclusive. Honestly, they really, really do. And we're only it's just the tip of the sword, so to speak. But Umbra, how important is mobile going to be to Microsoft when you see they don't have a thumbprint right now, but they're going to instantly get one with this purchase? And how long before we see a proper Gears for mobile? How long before we see Halo for mobile, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we know we can play Halo right now with Game Pass,
Right.
but maybe they go and they drop an actual mobile version.
Have something like Warzone, for instance, like the Call
Maybe
of Duty
this
has.
certain Affinity game that they're working on is they're dual working on it.
Yeah, it could be something like that. I think it's going to be really big for them. I mean, like you pointed out, how much Candy Crush brings in for King. So it's definitely something that I'm sure Microsoft then saw and was like, yeah, we're going to have to get in on that.
Yep.
I can see them really expanding on it. I hope they do. My only worry would be that since it's mobile, would it lack a certain quality that we've become accustomed to on console? That's the only thing I would worry about as a hardcore type of gamer. But I think they're going to really expand in that direction. And I can see them actually using the franchises they have. They can even use the Crash Bandicoots now that they're going to have. They can use Spyro. They can really expand in that direction if they wanted to. And you know what, Boom? Maybe they might even have that kart racer might be mobile that you've been talking about. Maybe that might be the mobile part kicks in for you. I can see them doing that. You know what? I would buy into it heavily if they implemented achievements. Since I'm an achievement chaser,
me too.
I didn't want to use the W.
Yeah,
word.
I know what you were saying.
But since I fiend for the achievements, man. If they actually implement that into this for the mobile side of things and actually include that, I'll be all over it. I can tell you that now. I play xCloud on the go. I play it with my Razer Kishi. That's part of why in the last subject I was kind of like, like I can see it being some use to me if I didn't have the Kishi already. And if it's priced well enough, I can do that. But yeah, if they actually do this with that, I can see myself really investing into it. And we see how lucrative it can be. And as people pointed out, and I think even Rain pointed out, as far as what they're trying to reach, they're going to have to probably extend out into the mobile side of things to reach what Phil wants to reach as far as Game Pass goes and bringing everybody into the ecosystem. So I can see it being pretty big. I just don't know how they're going to go about it just yet. But I know Candy Crush can't be the only thing that they want to do there. So I can absolutely see them maybe experimenting and doing something with a battle royale or something like that for Halo, or with Gears, maybe even. I wonder if they could possibly extend it to. I mean, well, they did a few things with Gears already, if you remember, Gears Pop, things of that nature. So I don't want them to go that soft with it. I want something more hardcore from them if they go with it. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I just don't know. I think it's just a lot of unknowns when it comes to it right now. That's the only thing.
I got
Well,
an idea for
it's
an Xbox
certainly going to
mobile
be
game.
interesting to see when Microsoft has a steady flow of income coming in from mobile, PC, and console. I mean, you talk about them circling the wagons, with getting studios that they've currently announced. I kind of wonder, with all of this influx of cash, is anyone off the table? I mean, folks, and again, I'm not trying to, turn the conversation into who's next for Microsoft. We've talked about that multiple times, but the reality is that they are going to have so much income coming in from these three revenue sources. And one of the biggest ones that is currently not owned by them, but will be owned by them when the Activision Blizzard King deal is done, is Candy Crush. That literally prints freaking money. And when you consider that they're going to have a foothold or at least fingerprints or a thumbprint in all of these three areas, mobile, console, PC, it's pretty unbelievable. Like I said, I don't think this would ever happen per se, but someone like a Take-Two, as expensive as they are, wouldn't be out of the realms for Microsoft if they ever wanted to sell. I mean, it's crazy. They're literally going to have so much money that they're not going to know what to do with. And what does that do for us Xbox gamers?
After we saw them, like you said, after we saw them acquire ABK or trying to in an attempt to do that right now, it's like you said, it's like everything is still on the table for Microsoft at this point. I won't even be surprised outside of being stunned and happy, of course, because I told you I'm greedy and I want them to grab everybody as far as I'm concerned, because it'll be coming straight to Game Pass day and date for me. But yeah, I'm not even going to be surprised anymore, and I don't doubt them anymore when it comes to acquiring somebody. So who knows? Take-Two could be on the table for all we know.
I got two. I got to mention though. I wish.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
I wish they could get NetherRealm and DC Comics. I just hope to get those guys.
Yes, sir.
Here, yep.
Yeah, WB Games.
NetherRealm is for me. I'd love a world where Microsoft did pick up DC Comics, because what they would do is they would get their film division, and their film division could exclusively make, that would be the house that builds Gears of War, Halo, whoever else after their contracts are done with Paramount, and because they have a few contracts with films in a bunch of locations. I'd love it to be under just one roof for Xbox, to be completely honest. But again, I'll put it to this way: they are far from being done on their shopping spree. And that's because they have so much money, and the influx of cash that they're currently sitting on. You got to remember, folks, with the way inflation has gone up in this country, I mean, everywhere. I mean, like in the UK, it went up 18%. I mean, that's the highest it's been in a decade, right? Maybe longer. They're losing money on the money they're sitting on. They're literally losing money, so they have to invest that money in things. And gaming is where the money is and continues to be. So it wouldn't surprise me if after this deal is done, we do hear about another monster acquisition. But again, only time is going to tell. I do want to move this, folks, to the big topic of the day. And obviously, we know that Game Pass, friends and family, even though it has not been officially announced, is coming. Right? That leaked from that Italian Twitter account, and he has leaked things before. We know that's around the corner, right? And that is going to change the industry in a way that we have never seen before. Like it is going to move people to the Xbox platform. And look, I'm not taking a shot at Sony here. Sony's in trouble, and they know it. They absolutely know it, because as great, as fantastic as their single player games are, I'm not, and again, this is not a shot at Sony. Most of us play through them once. If you're a platinum freak, or you're someone that gets platinums, like many people in the chat, BitCloud Gaming, master of platinums, right? He'll go back in there. Joe, Mr. Badbit, master of platinums. He'll go back in there and sew it up so he can get the platinum. That's not most of us. Like me, I like going back and getting the trophies. I'm not going to front. I like achievements. I like trophies. And I platinum a lot? No, I think I have like 5 platinum, something like that. Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima. I'm 2 trophies away from platinuming Miles Morales. I have a few. But the reality is that their games take a long time to make, right? And what we're going to see is Microsoft is going to be in a position where they have 30 plus studios. I think it's going to be close to 34 when it's all said and done, because Blizzard has a lot, but they consider it just Blizzard, right? When there's a lot of studios in there. So it might even be closer to 40. When you look at first party, what you know already is mind-blowing. But see, that's not the conversation that we're about to have. You see, what Microsoft has done is they pulled a Sony. Sony for years continues, even to this day, money-hatting games, whether it be exclusives, whether it be stupid exclusive missions like Hogwarts, which, I mean, I thought we were done with that, with like the Destiny, you don't get this gun for 18 months, and when you get it, no one cares, right? That's what they continue to do, and I think that's what they will continue to do, because that's all they can do, right? They can't match Microsoft's money. We know that for an absolute fact. We know this is why they said what they said to Brazil, to try and block this deal, which, they said what they said, and on top of that, now they're raising the prices, being the market leader. So I think they shot themselves in the foot when it comes to that. But I want to talk about Xbox Game Pass and the games that are coming. Folks, like I said, look at the thumbnail. Atomic Heart, High on Life, A Plague's Tale Requiem, Lies of P, Stalker 2, Wu Long, Evil West, Benedict Fox, Persona 3, 4, and 5. Gungrave was just announced. I mean, Lou, you dropped something into the chat that I'm going to bring up. Let me see. Where is it? You sent a photo. Let me just find that real quick here. Where are you? Sometimes I don't have it for some reason. That's weird. I'll find it in a second. Look, the bottom line is, if you look at this list of games, it's very Sony-esque. And I don't know exactly, because I've been very critical of Microsoft specifically this year when it came to their first party. Like, I'm like, how do you not know you're not going to have these first party games and you just abandon 2022? Like, I felt the type of way about it. I'm not even sitting here lying to you. And I gave them the business, rightfully deserved. Anyone at Microsoft tell you that they feel like they let their fans down. But when you look at what's coming to Game Pass, a lot of these are third-party games. They won't be on PlayStation, but every one of these games that people are talking about that are going to be on PC and on a PlayStation, no one's talking about it because it's on Xbox Game Pass, and that is the big factor. Let's bring in Steel Rain. Steel Rain, look, yes. The money's hard for a lot of people. Hong said it specifically on your show. $60 to him, he can't just drop in the bucket because he's got responsibilities. This is where Game Pass comes into play. But more so, dude, these games are all bangers, bro. Like, they are all, I mean, they could be bombs. Let's face reality. They could be terrible, but it's unlikely that they will be. And they're Game Pass day and date. How big of a deal is this?
I actually, Boom, if you don't mind, I actually wanted to pass it off to Boxenberger real quick because I don't think he got a chance to speak on the last topic.
Oh, did I forget? Oh my god, what a terrible host.
But the other, but no problems. The other thing
worry.
with that too, is that since Boxenberger is in a different market, Game Pass can affect his side of things a little bit more. So I just want to get his opinion on that too, man. I mean, Boxenberger, how do you feel about that, man?
Well, it's an interesting thing, and I've always torn with these topics because I sometimes come across like the bummer. But the thing
No.
is,
You come at it from different angles that we appreciate. Before you get into the Game Pass thing, let's get your opinion, because I can't believe I missed you. Unbelievable! What a terrible host.
Don't worry, Boom.
Let's get your opinion on the mobile aspect, because obviously you're not a mobile gamer. But you're a gamer, so maybe something that might appeal to you, you could play on mobile. How big of a deal is this going to be for Microsoft moving forward, that they are now going to be in all three avenues of gaming when it comes to bringing money into the company? I think this is going to be crazy.
Absolutely. The thing is, and I've said this, I think, on this show as well, this whole ABK deal is about growing their gaming division, and they are not going to grow that if they solely focus on console, and not even with PC. The biggest market for them to conquer is the mobile market. And like, think about this: you have Candy Crush on your phone. My wife, she plays a lot. Let's put it this way. But suddenly, she doesn't have to spend like all these microtransactions. There's this weird subscription service called Game Pass on your phone. And you get in Candy Crush and other mobile games your perks. And suddenly you turn on your Samsung TV and there it pops right up. Hey, you can play here right on this TV without having any other peripherals. Other games, that are in Game Pass via xCloud. This is like the killer app. They can. This is the way how you grow your gaming division. And I've said it so many times: the console market is kind of saturated. In between Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, you have, depending on the generation, you have like 250 million customers, and plus minus a few millions, of course, but that's about it. And the console market itself grows very slowly. The mobile market doesn't, and they have said they want to reach 3 billion gamers. And that's how you do it. And I think like we will see when we always speculate about who's Microsoft gonna get next. I think they are gonna look into the mobile section, because from a PC and console aspect, they have more than enough studios. And
I agree.
If they are serious about growing their business, growing gaming beyond the console and PC, they gotta branch out into mobile. Whether that's for me or not, but I think that's what they're gonna do next. They will look at that market and how they can bring gaming subscription services to mobile. That's their end goal, because on mobile you don't have those subscription services. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is absolutely a big deal. So let's let you transition over to the second part of this topic, and that's what's coming into Game Pass, because you, along with me, have been very critical.
Yes,
and let's face reality. We're not piling on the rabbit, so to speak. They have earned this righteous smoke, as Kay Asante likes to call it, but they seem to have heard us, and maybe Gotham Knights was too much for them to spend when they can get maybe 3 games. Maybe they get the Evil West, maybe they get Gungrave, maybe they get something else, as opposed to a Gotham Knights in regards to the money spent. What are your thoughts on what's coming into Game Pass, both this year, considering to be a light year for first party, and next year for Game Pass? It seems like the deck is stacked, and it almost seems like you can not own an Xbox and be an Xbox Game Pass with all of these big games.
In 23, absolutely.
So you don't think for 22?
This year, come on, be serious. What is coming to Game Pass this year that has like this appeal to the masses? Maybe a Plague Tale. High on Life. I'm not sure.
Heart is another one.
Sure. Atomic Heart is gonna be very controversial game. I don't see Atomic Heart moving any needles. A Plague Tale, yes.
I'm gonna have to disagree
maybe
with
High
you
on
on Atomic
Life,
Heart.
and that's about it. Yeah, we.
I gotta disagree with you on Atomic Heart, brother. The way they showed that
Is it
game.
Benedict Fox releasing this year?
No,
Next
it's
year.
next year. It's
Oh,
all
it's
next year.
next year, okay.
These games you mentioned that really have like Lies of P, that Bloodborne type of game. These kind of games all coming next year, and next year is already stacked. So there's no doubt that there is significant value next year. This year, it's for a certain audience. It's the hardcores. Everyone who listens to this podcast, I consider hardcore. We know about High on Life, and it's gonna be awesome in December. And we are gonna enjoy a Plague Tale, but it's not the same like those big AAA bangers, and they are not coming this year. They just don't. Is Xbox still or Game Pass still a great value? Absolutely. I'm not saying that, but in terms of this year, really not much has changed after Gamescom. What was announced at Gamescom that comes in this year? It's Age of 4, 2 Civilizations. Super excited for, but that's it. That's what is coming this year. Everything else is next year. Next year is going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. But for this year,
I mean, again,
Xbox abandoned this year.
They have abandoned it. We take nothing away from the fact that
Yeah.
none of their first party games are coming. We do not make excuses here. We give the righteous smoke where it's deserved. But I still think there's something to be said that Gungrave is coming. That's coming this year.
That's this year.
Yeah, Gungrave is coming this year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's.
I thought it was February next year. The thing is, you know what I mean. There's really, if you write it down, we have like 2-3 games that have like this appeal. And that's about it for this year. It's really not much. It really kind of feels like Microsoft just moved on, and I don't. As much as I'm disappointed, I can't really blame them because I see it happen across the entire gaming industry. Like everything is delayed and moved out of 2022. It's not just that Xbox is abandoning 22. It kind of feels like the entire industry is just, okay, come on, let's get it over with and move into 23. But for this year, at least from my point of view, there is really not much that has me excited outside of like High on Life and a Plague Tale.
Max, I'm telling you that Atomic Heart is going to be massive.
Yeah,
but I will say,
I don't know if Boom wants to have this discussion.
Listen,
you have outside of political views. I'm saying the game. Most people are not going to be like, "Oh, I'm not playing." Most people are going to see that and be like, "This looks like BioShock," and it looks magnificent.
It sure
I
does.
don't know. But I'll say this too: Gungrave is slated for November 22nd of this year.
Yeah, I feel like people from the US are further away from the entire situation. But here in Europe, I really have not heard anyone who wants to support this game. Simply because, we were a little bit more affected by this entire thing in the Ukraine. And I've said it in our DMs, and I've said it on the World of Gaming on my show. We really don't know the stance of the developers towards Putin or not. The fact of the matter is they are paying the taxes there, and with every dime you drop towards the developers, you're going to support Putin's war, and I can't do that. For me, that's okay. I know that other people might see that differently.
I hear you on it, Box, but I think it's also
you got
to look at it deeper though, because I see what you're saying on it, and I'm saying morally, I understand exactly where you're coming from. Thing is that it's coming to Game Pass, so that automatically alleviates the part of I'm going to give them money.
But if it's a success in Game Pass, they are still going to get paid.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying most people are not going to look at it that way. You see what I mean? They're going to be like, "Well, I'm getting it day and day
I know
free."
what you mean. It's really funny because we've had this discussion on multiple shows actually, and it really kind of feels to me like everyone in Europe is like, yeah, I'm not playing that. But every time I talk to someone from the US, like, I don't care. I want to play that game. It looks awesome. And I get it. And I get it. I'm not judging here. Everyone has to make their own decisions. For me, you see, I would feel really like a hypocrite. I volunteer at the refugee center from the Ukrainians. Just the other week, there was a mother her husband got killed. She had 2 children, both smaller than 3 years old. Like, okay, and this is what I'm doing. And am I do I really have the urge to play that game this much to knowingly that while I enjoy this game and playing this game, with that money, people in the Ukraine are suffering. I wouldn't be able to do that. But everyone is different that way. And really, I'm not judging anyone, but I'm just saying Atomic Heart will be a real controversial game when it comes out. So I don't know. Coming back to the Game Pass topic, Boom. Game Pass is in 23 is an insane value, and it's like a no-brainer for everyone who enjoys gaming. It's still a good value this year. There are smaller games, hidden gems coming to Game Pass, but in terms of this big appeal to the masses, I don't see it this year. But again, I'm not really blaming just Microsoft, because like everyone is moving their stuff to 23. It is just what it is. 22 is the year where the pandemic really shows its outcome, and Xbox doesn't have much this year in Game Pass, as well as in terms of first-party games. It's just what it is. It's still the best value you can get in gaming right now. We've seen like what Sony is doing with their value on their platform, and if you compare it to that, like, you're still eating very good when you play on Xbox. So yeah.
I mean, listen, you're entitled to your opinion, brother, and we love you for it. Steel Rain, let's bring you back in. Let's bring you back into the fold.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there are a lot of people in the chat that are like, yeah, I'm going to play this game because I'm in the West, and maybe they care, they don't care about what's going on. I care, but I also cannot condemn the developers of this game. If they came out tomorrow and said, no, we're with Putin, that's a different story. If they come out publicly, maybe they have to pay the taxes because they're afraid they're going to get killed. I don't know. I know that this is a video game podcast, so we're not going to get into the schematics of politics, which is ugly. But I think that what Microsoft continues to offer, even this year, and of course next year is bonkers. With everything we're getting from first party and third party, what. In my post, Sony can't compete. Their service is $3 more. The only day and date that we got was Stray. Now, Stray is a great game. If you're in the service, you should download it and give it a shot.
Absolutely.
I'm quite enjoying it. Again, it's about cats, so maybe it's not your thing. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm quite enjoying it. But when you compare one service to the other, which we have to compare one service to the other because they're competing services, even without the day and date stuff from first party. Microsoft seems to have put the boot to the neck, so to speak, with all of these games. What are your thoughts, Steel Rain?
My thoughts on the entire process. It's like I've said it a few times, whether it's on my own show with Living Split Screen or even here, I believe, where I don't think 2022 is as much of a wash as some believe, right? But again, I also don't look at first party to be the end all to be all, or I'm going to put the boot on Microsoft's neck for not having that. The reason being is because I've blatantly been told that that's not their objective, and it hasn't been their objective since 2017. They've taken a different path and given us games in a different way, and that's through Game Pass. In any game, give you an example like Lies of P, finding out that was actually officially coming into Game Pass, that's a deal within itself. Yes. Whether you believe that it is or it's not first party, so that doesn't count. It does count because they still spent money on it. And I can't fault Microsoft and say, but you don't have any first party games, so this year is a wash because of that. No, you still gave me value in a year where you couldn't provide anything else, which is crazy to me. Amongst your competitor who does have first party games to release, a Gran Turismo, a Horizon, games that have to be bundled with a console to sell more copies because it is not going to sell 20 to 30 million copies within the next 4 to 5 years. It's not. Point blank, period.
Yep.
So if you need games to do that, go that route to see the value, then maybe we're just having a different conversation, and that's okay. Maybe we're a different type of gamer, and that's okay. But just to drop it back to Lies of P coming into Game Pass, that was a game I was going to spend dollars on day one. And I saw the question that people have made. I saw someone made the comment almost about a week ago when I brought this point up. Oh, if you were planning to buy the game, why don't you still buy the game? Because I'm paying for Game Pass. That's why. The game is, in my mind, free. I know people don't, well, Game Pass isn't free. No, technically it's not, but you're paying for a subscription service.
They get so mad at that. Don't they, Rain? Have you ever seen them get mad
every
at that?
time? Every time.
Yep.
You don't watch a show, you don't watch Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon on HBO and be like, oh, well, what else is there? Yeah, you might over time, but that's not, you are subscribed for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
If they give you more, then that's just inherent value to you as the consumer. So I do think I have a little bit of a different perspective on that. But this 2022, if it's done anything, we could say, oh, COVID has done all these great things, or all these not great, terrible things with delays in the world and everybody looking at things differently. What I think is blatantly done is shown people that there's a different way to do business, especially within the gaming space. And there's other examples that show you these things. I always will make this statement, and I will stand on this hill. Gaming is different from a Netflix, from Hulu or HBO or anything else like that, because gaming takes your time away. It's an investment. You put 10 hours into a game, you might still have another 50 hours of that game to play. After you watch a movie, that movie's done. You can move on to, that's 2 hours gone. Okay, what else is next? Well, you might not have any other movies to watch, so you can unsubscribe. From gaming, it's different. If you can get more people to invest in that, which is why I do think that it is a major disadvantage that Sony didn't see this play or didn't move this direction, because we can be real, like you have said, Boom, like other people who have some kind of sense. Sony makes good games, apparently, right? It would only make sense for them to give them their consumer base more access. But again, it's archaic thinking. Things are changing. Game Pass is obviously the vehicle. I'm not saying Xbox is perfect. Xbox is looking to get our dollar the same way anybody else is. They're a company, they're a corporation, the same way that they're what they did with Windows, to where if you go ask 3 people down the street, they probably have a Windows machine.
Yep.
So if they want to do the exact same thing with Xbox and Game Pass.
So Steve, I got a question for you, and with what you're saying though, do you think along the way, when finally Microsoft releases its first party games, do you think Sony might change this perspective and let their games come out day one?
I think it's too late, because if you look at 2023, there's so many first party games, quote unquote, coming. Like literally look at it, along with deals that we don't know about yet. We're moving further into the fall of 2022. Oh, and Gungrave is all of a sudden coming to Game Pass also. Well, I didn't find out about that till today.
But here's the thing
and it does come out this year, by the way.
It does come out this year,
and it's the fun, and that's the funny thing though. My bad. Because they stay quiet till like the day comes by. Like for example, we still don't know if Gotham Knights will come to Game Pass. We have like a feeling that it will. We have that feeling inside us that
11th hour release. Like,
I think that's a negative though on Xbox's part, because that's why I still feel like they're so terrible at marketing. You're so wish-washy with it. Like, who do you need to? I need some people. Whoever considers themselves gods at marketing, please, Microsoft, pay these people some money so more of your games can get that attention.
How about they hire Mr. BoomStick XL, bro?
Yeah. You need to put Boom on the roster. Do that.
I've been giving $1 million ideas for weeks.
Doesn't Colt Eastwood work in marketing? They should hire him.
Hey, look, whatever needs to happen, bro. There are so many games that are coming out that it's to the point to where if there's not enough information about these games, that's why they're going to get looked over. not because any other reasons. So that's just,
I agree with that. And the thing about the marketing part of it, we've all been saying that Microsoft has been lacking when it comes to that. Sony
100%.
far excels when it comes to that part of it.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for that is because they know like it's Game Pass, so it's going to kind of sell itself. But I think they need to get out of that thinking.
They need to do better.
Listen,
if I'm going to give them any smoke, their marketing is a head scratcher. Like it's
that's the only smoke.
It's a head scratcher with their marketing. I don't understand. I mean, they're near $3 trillion company. You shouldn't have a problem in marketing. Sorry, you fire everybody in staff or you promote people that are doing the job, and you let people that aren't go. I mean, there's no reason to have bad marketing in Xbox. It's just
one more thing before I relinquish the mic. Didn't Phil Spencer mention that he wanted variety in Game Pass?
Hello. Variety is key. Yes.
Look at your thumbnail, Boom. There's a lot of variety in this thumbnail. I mean, whether it's divisive or not, I understand where you're coming from, Boxenberg. I completely understand that. And again, everybody has to make their personal choices, but you can't say that it's not variety, right? So.
Yeah, I would say, Boom, what you
that's
thought
the
about
beauty
it?
about Game Pass. There's so much variety in there, and there's
Dear Lord.
always something to discover. And
the variety there, the marketing just isn't there to showcase it. But I was going to say, Boom, somebody I just thought about, Boom, and this person always makes sure to throw out, I have a marketing degree to me every time we get into a long 3-hour debate on Party Chat on Xbox. Zimmy Games.
True.
We could be talking about world hunger. Well, I have a marketing degree. I'm like, brother, if you tell me about that marketing degree one more time. So get Zimmy to market it. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, listen, you know what? Let me catch up with some of these super chats. Been quite a few of them, and then we're gonna bring in Crazy Lou onto the conversation. Let me just get over to the private chats. Hold on just a second. We have. Okay, you know what? Let me just pull it up over here. I'm sorry. We have a ton of them. Let me just
and T Bobo makes a good point. Why pay for marketers when YouTubers will do it for free views? The only problem with that, T Bobo, though, don't want to point out anyone specifically, but I feel like that's an excellent point. They're not paying us either to continue to speak that word, and whether you like it or not, there are people who get paid to make sure that people know about certain products.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, and even like our combined audiences wouldn't be enough to be what they were marketing for. Like we're talking about the kind of marketing where it's like they need to be having TV spots or like the thing where they're getting like the Netflix
on buses, at basketball games, at football games, on billboards.
Audiences.
Yeah, 100%.
How is the marketing? If I may ask here, because we have that discussion here in Europe a lot. Because literally there's zero marketing from Xbox here. It's no TV ads, of course, no billboards, not even online commercials.
Yeah, it's for at least I'm in Florida, so I'll speak from my perspective. For me, I don't see it. I don't watch TV either, so I don't see. I'm part of the hardcore audience, and I don't see it. If I'm searching through Google, if I'm on Newegg, if I'm on Amazon, none of this stuff is where these places where the consumers are. And that's where I think about it from a marketing standpoint, because it's not in my reality either when I step outside my door. So
so I'm in Chicago, and I think I've seen all of one ad from them ever.
Yeah, I'm in New York, and you can imagine I'm just not seeing it. They're just not spending the marketing dollars.
But here's a question though for you guys. Like, for example, when I watch TV, but from the United States, for example, on TBS, I did see marketing, but from Samsung with their cell phone, stuff like that. This is some marketing.
That's
but
TV.
That's the thing though. Here, not like I don't know if you guys still watch TV, because we all watch probably on the server stuff. I mean, watch Paramount Plus, we watch on Netflix and stuff like that. So since they don't have ads in there, that's partly the market doesn't get in there. But you're right, though.
That's my thing, right?
Yeah, like they were saying though, on sports, they need to be on sports. They need to be on stuff that people actually watch, because I mean, you grab your TV, you probably sit down and watch a baseball game. They need to have a marketing ad right there on baseball and basketball games and wrestling and all that stuff. They got to push that right over there. I totally agree with you right there. They got to push right there. Like what Boxenberger was saying over there in Europe. Imagine here in Dominican Republic, nobody talks video games. They started talking about it the other day on the newspaper. But I'm going to tell you something. They started mentioning it on the newspaper, but they bring out a game that came out a month a month
Yeah.
like earlier. Like I was like, man, aren't these guys late with this? I mean, what are you guys talking about Dying Light here in April
Wow.
when it came out in February? I mean, that's a little bit
You know,
late.
that's
Okay.
interesting, Louis. And I heard
Yeah.
you on your Xbox International podcast. I know I've heard you
Yeah.
speak on it many times where the marketing is
Yeah.
just non-existent and you all have word of mouth heavy over there. And
Yeah.
if you look at the chat, everybody's announcing where they're from. Charlotte, from California, you know, Still Rainy said it from Florida, myself, Chicago, Boom, New York. Box over there in Europe. A lot of these places we named, we're not even seeing the marketing, and we're in some of the biggest areas.
Yep.
So it's really odd right there.
It makes you wonder exactly what they're doing over there now. Whether this is their hiring new people, they're making a new marketing team. They definitely need to be better. But listen, let me catch up with some super chats and we'll get everyone's opinion. Gamer by Choice drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, I don't want Microsoft owning publishers that make edgy games because I don't see Microsoft allowing a GTA style game. I want edgy games, but I love Xbox. I mean, look, all you got to do is listen, I hear you, but all you have to do is look at High on Life. That game does not seem like it's an Xbox game. And what they're saying in that game is bonkers. Go figure. Listen, Game Pass needs diversity, even if it's edgy. Again, if it's not for you, I hear you, but we can't deny a developer wanting to take a risk. And with the people at High on Life, they took a monster risk. And again, shocked that it's on Xbox. Corbini Gaming drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, I'm a little late to the show. I just wanted to say I play xCloud on my laptop with my son at home every night. I'm a truck driver using a hotspot. Cloud gaming is definitely improving. Well, thank you for the work that you do. Yeah, so thank you for that, brother, and thank you for the very generous $10 super chat. JD Gamer drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, look for Microsoft to acquire not just Japanese studios, but Korean as well. Yeah, that's definitely coming. Also, look for them to have partnerships with potential ownership of Chinese studios. Yeah, the Chinese ones, that's where we start getting into a political conversation. I'm not going to have. I don't know so much about that, but Korea is really. I mean, they have very talented folks over there. I'd love to see Microsoft invest in that region of the world as well. DJ Birdo DOS drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, boom, that thumbnail for tomorrow's primetime gaming got me laughing. Sony's got every aspect covered when it comes to losing this gen. My man, Jimbo. Yeah, you know what? It's a bit salty, and it has it will bring a smile to your face. It may make you angry if you're a diehard Sony person, but you can't deny that Jim Ryan is kind of stepping in it right now. And it says basically, Jim Ryan, How to Lose a Generation. And it has a bunch of check marks. Go check it out. It's my finest creation yet, and it's all true. But again, you may disagree, and and that's fine if you disagree. I think that it's very true. They are doing everything they can to lose a generation, and they're doing it to the chagrin of anyone that is a diehard fan. You cannot sit here and say what they're doing you're okay with, because if you do, then you're just a shill. I'll tell you that right now. JD Gamer drops an additional $5 super chat and says, I see Mistwalker as a major Microsoft target because it gives them sequels to Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. Plus, they have experience in the mobile game market. Yeah, I'd love Mistwalker to be first party. That would be freaking awesome. And I'd love for them to do Final Fantasy VII remake to Lost Odyssey. That series deserves it. If you never played it, you should. Hagreet Chani, what's going on, brother? Welcome back. And of course, he shows his generosity once again with an outstanding $10 super chat and says, that is a very weird thought process. Should we not buy any games from UK or US for stupid wars in Middle East? Do we have to go into the history of Germany? Devs are making games, not governments. I mean, again, it's a very touchy subject. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. If you want to support them, then, listen, you support them. If you don't, you support by not downloading, not purchasing. Again, it's a very touchy subject, but thank you for the generosity. Dead Planet drops a $2 super chat and says, anyone else feel God of War Ragnarok hype isn't that high? Yeah, a lot of people aren't talking about it because we haven't seen the trailer. They've been very coy of showing us anything. Now, why is that? We know it's coming. We know that it's coming November 8th, right? That's the date they have given for it. It's going to be here unless they delay it, maybe, and maybe they're crunching and they can't figure it out. I don't know. I'll say this: once we see God of War running, like they do an official blowout, we're all going to be impressed. I mean, come on, that studio is absolutely ridiculously talented, and I expect nothing else than a very successful God of War Ragnarok.
And that should be happening either next month or October.
It's going to be close. Yeah, it's
like
close
it should be
to
pretty
launch.
soon.
Yeah, I would imagine. Let's see who else. We have a couple super chats more, and of course, we will then continue with the conversation. Maxi Coleman drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "I'm from Argentina. Well, welcome to the program. Imagine if we can't play every time the U.S. makes some war on oil. We couldn't play anything." And that's again, the U.S. is far from innocent when it comes to doing stuff that is stupid. And Hargeet Chani drops an additional $10 super chat. Well, thank you for the generosity. He says the PlayStation 5 Horizon bundle has been available on the PlayStation website for like a day now. Checked last evening and just checked. Perhaps they solved their supply issues or people aren't buying. That's a great question. I mean, it's something to be said. I mean, it's a bundle. You have to spend nearly $600 because you can't get a PlayStation 5 by itself. If you're buying the disc version, it's going to cost you closer to $6. And if you're buying the disc list version, you're probably paying closer to $5.25. So I don't know what's going on with that, but listen, Crazy Lou, let's get your opinion. Where do you personally fall on what Microsoft is delivering on Game Pass in 22 and 2023, considering that we have big titles coming this year? Like I said, Atomic Heart, High on Life, Plague's Tale, Gungrave. There are quite a few others. Now, granted, Stalker 2 is next year, Benedict Vox is next year, Wu Long is next year, Evil West is next year, but god damn, that is a lineup of lineups, dude.
Yep, that is a lot of games. I mean, you remember I sent a photo earlier about how many games are going to be on there. I told you it could be a little bit accurate or misaccurate. There was a lot of games repeated in there. So I was like, let me do my numbers. Let's say if they were actually 65 games that are going to be upcoming, right? Let's say they're actually, right? And you times it by 60, we're talking about $3,900 you're going to be saving up just by Game Pass.
Yep. It saved me a lot. Yeah, and I'm a retired dude.
$3,900. Yeah, so $3,900 is a lot of money. I mean, seriously, when you sit down and do the math, you're like, damn, that's a lot of money you're saving. Now, if you times it by 30, that's $1,900 you're going to be saving if it's $30 game. So I'm just giving up an example on how much money you will save if they actually cost $60 with all that stuff that Game Pass is going to be rolling out. And not only that, I mean, seriously, you got third parties, you got first parties, you got indies, you got a whole bunch of stuff going out there that's going to be insane. And again, I mean, like I asked before, are we going to see the competition actually change their minds and say, hey, we got to drop in our first party games day one? Because I mean, these guys are going to kick our butts. I mean, we're just seeing the lineup of 2023, but what's going to happen in 2024, 2025? I mean, we don't know when Hellblade's going to come out. Fable is a title that we know it's in development. So when that gets announced and when it's going to come out, it's going to be huge. Avowed is another game that has not been announced either for a date. And you got, I mean, so much stuff. I think I need to mention one more. Elder Scrolls. Oh, man, when that comes out, that's going to be a huge bomb. So like I said, it's going to be, for the next 3 years, Game Pass is going to be kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah, so, well, there's something to be said about Sony eventually having to bend the knee. Like, honestly, I don't know how long you can continue to offer. And again, I'm not saying this to be facetious, folks.
Yep.
This comes from Jim Ryan himself. Our players don't play old games, right? But Lord, all of their whole service is based on old games.
Yep.
So, I mean, again, this is the same guy that said, well, we believe in generations. Now they don't.
No, I don't.
A PlayStation 5 only. No, we're going to support PlayStation 4 for the next 3 years. They need to figure it out, and I don't think that they know if they can. I'm going to be honest with you. They're in a pickle. Let's just say that they are in a pickle. But Daniel McGee, let's get your opinion on this, brother.
Yeah.
Look, I understand, like many people on this panel, we're disappointed, and we just don't understand how Microsoft didn't read the room. Like, how did you not know these games are being delayed? Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I am willing to understand that I don't want a game that's going to release broken. So if you got to delay, then just delay it. But I gotta say, with the games coming to Game Pass this year, maybe they're not as big as Starfield, Redfall, Motorsport, but they still pack a punch. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. So I don't want to like downplay how rough the last 12 months or so for Xbox has been. Like it has not been good, and I want to make sure that people don't think that I'm trying to like cover that fact. Because like it's been backlog season over here for a minute. Like I've been going through a lot of games that I didn't think I'd ever have time for, which has been fun. I haven't been against that, but like it's not a good thing for Xbox. You know what I mean? So like I think we should for sure take note of that. As far as the things getting delayed, like I get it, that sucks. Although I do think weirdly, there's a positive side to it. I wouldn't go as far as is it Everborn Saga who's saying that they might have done it on purpose.
According to him, the crackpot theory is that they took the L on all three of these games so they could look better for the regulators to get this deal done. Again, it's a tin hat foil, theory. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, look. I wouldn't go that far. I love Everborn. He's a great writer. Buy his shirt. Buy his Charger More shirt. It's fantastic. One of the funniest things I've seen in years. But yeah, I wouldn't go that far. But the positive side of it is whether intentional or not, I think that having this really bad year is going to end up in a situation where like we don't have to continue hearing about like, oh, well, these things got delayed because of COVID. Because it's like, well, you took a year off. So you have the ability to sort of space out the games that are coming out from your first party for the foreseeable future to where you shouldn't ever have a situation where this happens again, right? If you're paying attention to what you've got and you're giving people the time that they need, and especially once you've got 26 studios, like this will never happen again. Like they've put all their cards in one basket, and that means that this other basket of 2022 has been completely empty, and that really sucks, but it is what it is. Looking forward though, the next 12 months of Game Pass and just Xbox in general, assuming 2/3 of it hits when it's supposed to, is going to be absolutely ludicrous, right? Like I was making a list whenever we were starting the topic, right? So here's just some things coming into Game Pass, not even first party, right? Okay, so you got fantastic new IP coming like Evil West, Eiyuden Chronicles, Flintlock, Atomic Heart, Wolong, and Lies of P, some coming from Japan, which is a brand new audience for them, so that's going to help. I think Lies of P is actually Korean, but it's the same like Asian marketplace. You've got future indie darlings like Benedict Fox, Ravenlock, Little Witch in the Woods, Silksong, which I forgot was going in there and I'm very excited about. Replaced Somerville from the people who did Inside.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude, some of these games I actually forgot, honestly.
Right. You've got some really promising like sequels or continuations like Gungrave Gore, Darktide, Plague Tale, Innocent.
Holy crap,
Requiem.
I forgot about that one too.
Right. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Game
that's the next category is things that are going to be huge for streamers, right? Party Animals, Hello Neighbor 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, High on Life. Right, and then you've got all the Persona games are going in. Well, the majority of the Persona games are going in there. Yeah. Then you've got things I'm never going to touch, like Scorn, because that's gross. I don't need that.
That's another one I forgot.
That's the game. That's the game I'm going to touch. I don't care.
You can have my share too. I'm not touching it. And you got, I don't know why I wrote this one down, but I saw it on the list and I wanted to mention it. There's one going in there called Pigeon Simulator. I don't know what that's for, but like that's not even counting first party, right? That's not even counting Activision. Yeah, that's not even counting things we haven't heard of because like Steele was saying earlier, right? Like we didn't know that whichever one it was Gungrave was going in there until today, and it's in there in like what, a couple months. Like we're going to continue to hear more and more things. Like at this point, it's if you can't be happy with what Xbox and Game Pass is going to be over the next 12 months, assuming that it doesn't entirely explode. I don't know. I think maybe you got like a serotonin deficiency. Like you just cannot be happy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be happy with all that stuff that's coming up. I mean, it's insane.
The list of games. I think the biggest problem here, and I got to shout out. Hold on, I believe his name was. Let me just find him here. Mark Mecklin dropped something into the chat that was interesting. Yeah, here it is. Mark Malkin. He says Xbox's toughest problem in 2023 and so forth will be spacing their games. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. I mean, that list on third-party Game Pass,
crazy, bro.
Not counting what they have coming for their own is
right.
It's just bonkers, bro.
I don't know how we're going to find time to play all these things.
But you see,
because that's all the stuff we're getting for free.
Again,
you got to keep in mind also.
This is a conversation for another time, Daniel.
Yeah,
and this is very interesting. If you're Sony and you're looking at these marketable deals that Microsoft already has locked up, you're saying, oh shit. They just bought Call of Duty. They own Blizzard. They own King. They have near 40 studios, if you count everybody that's a part of Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a first-party onslaught that has. I mean, it's not here now because it's been. They're taking their time. They don't do the crunch thing, right? But it seems like the perfect storm is coming, right? Game Pass. They're getting into mobile. They're getting into PC. Game Pass is taking off. And now they have all of these first-party studio games coming. And now they have locked up all of these monster new IP for Game Pass. Sony is in big trouble. Well, listen, let's bring Umbra into the conversation. And then we'll get everyone the heck out of here. Umbra, look, again, opinions are different. Some people find more value for Game Pass this year than others. And that's acceptable. Maybe we don't all like the same games. But for your opinion on this, regarding of what's coming in 2022 and 2023, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, they seem to have really fixed a content issue with Xbox by using what we've seen Sony do. They basically took a page right out of Sony's book and they locked up all these deals for Xbox Game Pass that now Sony cannot touch. They'll be on Sony's machine, but no one's going to give a flying hootenanny because they're on Game Pass. We're getting it for free, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what most people walk away saying. Oh, well, yeah, I'm getting it for free. No, you're not, Boom. You're paying.
You better be careful, because they'll argue with you if you say free.
Oh, no, the lynch mob will come out for me. There's no doubt about it.
They say that, and then they also say that we don't buy games, so I don't know where the disconnect is. It can't be both.
Right. Yeah, they're contradictory. That's all they do is, the thing is, I've noticed with guys online is that so many of their narratives have been destroyed that they just flail about. It's funny to see them in action, but I'll say this: it does seem like Microsoft has kind of solved that content issue as far as diversity, especially, and because Danny stole my answer, just want to throw that out there. I started hearing them naming them off. I'm like, you know what? All right, I got them last time. Let it slide. But basically, it's 23 games that we know of already coming in 2023 to Game Pass, and not just any little games, either like big time games. And even outside of first party, like he pointed out, you cannot help but be happy with what you're seeing already, unless you're just like, I don't know, super pessimistic or something like that. But with what we already have coming in, we know that Microsoft is going to work on adding more for the year, and that's only for the first 12 months, by the way. So we know it's going to be crazy next year. Heck, it could still be crazier this year. We've still got some quality games. High on Life is going to be a banger. I know that not everybody might agree, my good buddy Box here, but Atomic Heart is going to be massive. I mean, that game got nothing but buzz during Gamescom, and it looks magnificent. It's one of the first games I would say that looks actually next gen, right? Or I know with current gen, I get it, but it's one of those games that does that. So going forward, I think they have that down. What I would like for them to do going beyond even 2023 and such is work on getting even bigger games. So a lot of us were like, man, hopefully they can try to get Saints Row. Hopefully they can try to get Gotham Knights. You all remember that discussion? So I hope going forward they strive to try to get bigger games put into the service day and date. That would matter a lot, I think, in trying and pushing the service even more than what it is. And we talked about the marketing part, just to throw this out there. The reason why I look at it like that as far as the marketing goes is because if their goal is to really hit that many gamers as they want, they can't just rely on us and Game Pass itself because it's such a good value to sell itself because we give word of mouth. And that has helped it. Word of mouth has helped tremendously, as we know.
Far,
But if they really want to get to where they got to get to as far as reach, they're going to have to step up the marketing game for that. But adding these great games into the day and date into the service like this, where we get it free, yes, attack me, Sony fanboys. I know you're going to come for me. No, but where it's essentially feels free, at least to us.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's a blessing, I think. And it makes no sense if you're an Xbox gamer to ignore Game Pass at this point. We're not back in 2017 anymore. It's a new day. So, and
this is coming on the heels of the family plan, the family friends and family plan that's going to be announced probably right before. Again, if not before Black Friday, I would imagine soon because obviously the name leaked and then Microsoft wants to get ahead of that. Dude, it's madness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's madness.
It is, and that's only going to help it even further because I'm guessing do we know the parameters around it? It's going to be like 5 people or something like that, or something?
Yeah, it's yourself and 4 other additional people for $25 a month. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Supposedly, yeah,
that's beautiful. And I mean, a lot of people had been asking for that, so it'll help a lot. Me myself, I game share with my family, particularly my nephew. So it would be nice to actually be able to share that out with other family members.
Yeah, my nephew's going into my plan. A good friend of mine, he's jumping on my plan as well because like I said, I'm doing okay. So I figured that I can help out a few people.
Yeah, share the blessings.
And by doing that. Yeah. And by doing that, Boom, I don't mean to interrupt, but by you doing that, though, you inadvertently, if they end up purchasing more games because they're in that ecosystem and that game isn't in Game Pass, because people forget that you can still buy games.
Yep.
There's games that are not going to be part of the service. As Daniel McGee was about to mention earlier, there's games that are not going to be part of the service that you're still going to buy. And if you love the game enough in Game Pass, things get moved out. They don't stay there forever. You're going to end up buying the game if you've put that time in there. I just feel like this gets slept on so much, and it's the whole other piece of the pie that we got to keep considering. But
no, I mean, that's a great point. People seem to forget that you're absolutely right. They may be, again, this is something to be said about if they're new to the ecosystem and once they get their sea legs and they start learning what's in here, they're going to buy a game that's in here that's not on Game Pass. And you know something, Steele, to your point, they're going to be more likely to spend it because they're getting all these other games for quote unquote free. So they'll be willing to spend the microtransactions. They'll be willing to buy said game. Well, I didn't have to buy this game and I don't have this game, but the 4 other games I got for free. Because like I said, folks, it's only a matter of time before someone around a water cooler or at the in school by their lockers and say, yo, I just got the newest Call of Duty for free. And people can be like, excuse me, bitch? What'd you say? Yeah, that's right. That's right. I downloaded on Game Pass.
Detention.
You got the old 5-finger discount, did you?
It's going to happen. And when it happens, like I said, there is a lot to be said about what's going to happen. Sony is in trouble. They know it. Microsoft, they woke the sleeping giants, right? They had, they reigned supreme for many, many years. This is how you share games, whatever, first party greatness, all that other stuff. And all they've been doing. And if you want to hear how they're going to lose this generation starting this year, tune into tomorrow's primetime gaming, where it's going to get a little bit edgy,
a little spicy.
Can I say something real quick? Because I heard Humber was saying to be putting big games on Game Pass. Hey, Humber, I want to see more small companies put on Game Pass like they're doing, because those small companies one day might become big. So with that,
they will. I want the diversity, Lou.
Yeah, I love that diversity. I'll
Do
do both. I mean,
I'll say this: we've got an
yeah.
overabundance of indies, and indies
Yeah.
carried the year for us. I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
did,
God.
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people here have played Power Wash. I bet you.
Oh,
I-
dude, crazy
Yeah.
people play.
Yes,
Power.
I'm telling you.
I
A
haven't
lot
touched
of
it
them,
yet, but almost everybody on my
See?
friends list was playing. I'm like, what are you all? Are you all hypnotized, or
I'm telling you, and
is it some type of device in the
everybody-
game that captures that once they get in it?
I love it.
And
That's good
everybody
stuff.
who's played it, they're like, "Oh man, this is so relaxing." You watch
It's so
it.
relaxing. That's what I hear from
Yeah.
everyone. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
It must be
Power
for
wash
like those who
simulator.
got like a lot of
Go
inner
freaking
rage,
figure,
so it
like
must calm
crazy.
them down. I imagine. I don't know.
Oh
man.
my God!
When
Listen,
I saw
ladies
the
and gentlemen,
gameplay, I was like, nah, that's not going.
yeah, it may not be for
Not gonna
everyone,
do it
but
for
look,
me.
there is
about
the
it.
one thing that we can all agree on is Microsoft, and Phil Spencer said it, Sarah Bond has said it, Aaron Greenberg have said it. They want diversity, not only in their community, which they have, which is the Xbox community is just incredible. It has assholes too, sure, but for the most part, they're gamers, and they don't troll, and they don't go out of their way to be mean and ruin the moment. But they want diversity in their games. They want all kinds of games, from kid friendly to puzzle to games that your knife says he wants to stab someone's a-hole out. You know, I mean, listen, these things happen. So look,
Best
all I
new
can say
character.
is that I want to thank over 450 people that tuned in for today's show. Thank you so much for another, successful Xbox Factor podcast. Let's get to the outros, and we'll start with our guests first. Steel Rain, sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone about your march to 1K on
Yes,
Living
sir.
Split Screen, and where they can go right now and subscribe to your channel. But more importantly, strike up a conversation on social media.
Look, man, I make it real easy for everybody. Got to streamline things, right? So, you can find me, Steel Rain. Steel Rain. The T is a 7. You can type it in Google and you'll find me. All the information is there. Again, like I've been making the joke. My wife thought it was a game. I had her type it in. Boom, it took her immediately there. So, whether that's YouTube, Twitter, Xbox, whatever the case may be, PC, hit me up in a message. Let's chop it up. Let's talk gaming, man. Or if you want some life advice, I can't guarantee I got the best, but I can definitely see what I can do for you. Other than that, every Saturday morning, I co-host with one of my great esteemed host, Paul Soul, with a non-console eccentric platform known as Living Split Screen, where we just talk about everything that's going on within the gaming industry with a personal flair to it, right? I mentioned that RTS view earlier, basically pulling yourself out of the world, looking at the darker crevices of the map, pulling those resources together, and just having an open conversation, building up that community, building up your foundation, so we can eventually reach that 3 billion gamers that Phil was talking about, and also just expand the gaming space. Other than that, again, boom, it's always a beautiful time here. Anytime that I get the podcast with you, so greatly appreciate you extending that invite out again, man. I always appreciate it. And if ever I got time, I'm here, man. And look, everybody else on the panel is a superstar, man. If y'all aren't following them, we gotta follow everybody that's here, because there's some of the greatest community members that we have. You guys gotta realize that. I'm pretty sure most of you do, but definitely follow everybody, and greatly appreciate you all for being here. Much love.
Thank you so much for that, and we love having you, Steel Rain. Shout out to Master Clowns X3, who's been a channel member for 18 months, and he says this: love the talk, Mr. Boom. Congratulations on your channel's continued growth. Thank you so much for that. Yes, a couple of weeks ago we hit 11K, and we are just about to hit 11.1. And that's, of course, well, thanks to you folks that find the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. But of course, let's welcome in the crazy one, Crazy Lou Gaming from the Xbox International Podcast. To sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can subscribe to your channel, check out that weekly show, and more importantly, reach out to you on social media.
Oh man, y'all can find me at Twitter at Crazy Louie Gaming, doing all my good morning videos, promos, and all the crazy stuff I do. That's where I usually have a lot of fun. And also, you can find me every single Wednesday on Xbox International at 7 p.m. at the Crazy Louie Gaming YouTube channel with my brother Salblo and Silent Cypher. Hey, Boom, again, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been a fun show today. Really, thank you so much. And panel, you guys are awesome. If you guys, like Steel Rain said, if you guys are not following them, please follow those awesome guys on here. And chat, You guys have been keeping it rocking and going. You guys are fantastic. Love you all. Seriously, it's been a fun episode. Thank you again, Boom, for having me on here.
Thank you for being here, brother. And Boxenberger, you got a show coming up this week, and you also have an incredible YouTube channel that drops tons of video. Sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone they can subscribe to your YouTube channel, but potentially reach out and strike up a conversation on social media.
Yeah, first of all, thanks again for having me. It's always a blast to be here on the Xbox Factor podcast. Boom, you have a fantastic community here, and you always bring up a stellar panel, so it is a lot of fun. In case people don't follow me or know where to find me, it's easy. It's everywhere at Boxenberger. As you said, I do have a YouTube channel, and we have a fantastic podcast on that as well. Wandering Dutch and I have weekly guests. This week we're gonna have the absolute pleasure to have Umbra on. It's always a little smaller panel, so we have more direct conversations, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna cover a ton of different topics. Some of you have heard some of the major topics, of course, already, but we always talk about stuff that a lot of people seem to miss these days. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. That's Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Europe or 2 p.m. Eastern, and boom, I will be back in 2 weeks again. So I see you guys.
Yes, absolutely. That's right. You're going to be doing something next week. And obviously, it's funny because Pong is here next week. You're not here. I think he's ducking you, bro. I really think that might be something.
He is for sure. I have no doubt.
Well, listen, enjoy. We'll see you back next week. But thank you for being here. Daniel McGee, sell your brand, brother. What new videos have you dropped? Because listen, if you're not watching Daniel's stuff, you're honestly missing out. He does videos. They're not 5 minutes. They're not 7 minutes. Some of them are half an hour, but they're worth your time, especially if you're like me and you do the cleaning. You get to listen to it, and you can sit back, you put the phone up, you listen to him break down stuff where he does the research. Daniel, sell it, brother. Tell everyone where they can subscribe to your YouTube channel, but more importantly, reach out to you on social media.
Yeah. So you can find me on YouTube at Daniel McG. That's Daniel MCG, or on Twitter at Daniel J McG. I actually just published a video. I guess it would have gone live about 5 minutes ago. Me just talking about the Embracer stuff from last week, where they were buying Lord of the Rings and all that craziness, as well as a quick recap of what I thought about the Gamescom opening night live stream. So hopefully you like it. It is a longer video. It's about 45 minutes. I accidentally sat down and did a one-man podcast, it turned out.
Nothing wrong with that, brother. Listen, we love the hot takes, and you do good work, man. You always bring a lot of interesting points to the conversation, and again, you can't argue that it's not worthy of your time, especially if you're looking for the proper information. So good stuff as always, Daniel. So thank you so much for being here. And last, and in no way least, Infinite Umbra, part of the Xbox Infinite podcast, Friday evenings. I believe it's 8 p.m. And that crew over there delivers each and every stream. Talk about it, brother. Tell everyone where they can get over and check you yourself out. Doom Cutie, Risk It for the Biscuit, and Jedi Peter. Where can they hang out on Friday evenings if they want to add another incredible Xbox show to their playlist?
Well, you guys can, like you say, you hit it right on the head. Boom. You can find me on Xbox Infinite, secretly my podcast, as it has my name in it. We won't talk too much about that. It's Fridays at 8 o'clock Eastern, so 7 o'clock Central for like people like myself. And I hope you guys come through and support us over there. I've seen a few of you over there before, so I hope you keep coming through. Just want to say thank you to the chat, and especially of course my panel here. You guys were excellent, gave great takes. Danny stole one of my thoughts, but we will ignore that. And still thanks for coming through, brother. You always give the good energy that I do not have right now. And and Crazy Louie, always excellent to hear you, brother. And Box, when I come through with the show, I know you're one of the classiest people I know, you and Wandering Dutch.
Thank you.
I am not going to be classy on your show, though. I'm going to be declassy. I'm going to declassify.
Sometimes you just need that for the conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
I'm going to be the Chris Tucker to your Jackie Chan on that show.
I love it. That's good
Love
stuff.
it. It's gonna be an awesome show, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Can't wait to talk about it, brother. But what's up, Kay? I see you out there. But yeah, it's something you said Steel Rain. It just caught me, and I was singing it, but I couldn't do it while you all were talking. I'm not going to do it though. I'm stopping myself. You were like with superstars. I was like, if you are what you say you are. Let me stop myself.
I love it. That's good stuff, man.
But you all can find me on Twitter under Umber Infinite or Infinite Umber. You'll find me either way. And yeah, you guys come through and support us. And of course, you know I'm here. So see you guys again next week.
Well, thank you. A big thank you to all the super chats that come in, folks. Like I said, you don't understand. We definitely turn those super chats around and repurpose them into new equipment for the channel, as well as the big giveaways. And there are $2,000 more of giveaways coming this year. One in September, one in November, and the big one for $1,000 in December. We'll be making the announcements on the YouTube channel as well as we get closer to them. Boom's birthday bash in September, Mrs. Boom's birthday bash, where it's our birthdays, but you guys get the gifts. And of course, because the world is a bit tough, and because we are very blessed and fortunate, Mrs. Boomstick and I have decided that we are going to double up what we're doing on the birthday bashes and give away $1,000 for Christmas. And we'll, again, everyone that wins will get a prize. I don't care where you are in the world. There are many money apps. We prefer PayPal for, security and safety, for ourselves. Mm-hmm. But we welcome in all international viewers. So don't sweat that. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, folks. That is something that's important to me. Hopefully one day be important to you. And that's something that my pop taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated, and also it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.